running for Congress in the state of Alabama. Coach, college football, the SEC, and politics. The book is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. It's a fun time of the year. Of course, each week, it's like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. But I knew y'all bring up that cigar deal now. I knew you'd do that.
Well, do you feel, Coach, I mean, just what's going on, it's great to speak with you. Coach Tuberville, back when I was a child, he's friends with the old man, and he allowed me to run out with the team in an Iron Bowl. One of the coolest memories of my entire life.
What an experience.
Yeah, so thank you again for that, Coach. But do you feel a bit like Icarus? Did Auburn fly too close to the sun, smoking those cigars in the stadium?
Well, you got to remember, T-Bob, most people down there don't realize this. That was 20 years ago. I turned 65 a few weeks ago, and on that day, I turned 45.
Wow. Wow.
That was as much about celebrating my birthday as it was a win. But
that is awesome.
It makes for good talk about what went on during that game and the people, and it is a great game. It's a great rival game. People really get into it from both teams, and that's what makes college football great. Rivalries like this, and it should be a great game. But Bay Orgeron's got them going down there, and I think Gus has got a good football team too. So we'll see what happens.
You coached with Bebe at Miami. You saw him as a defensive line coach down there at South Beach. How have you seen him evolve to where he is now to have this LSU team clicking at number 2 in the country?
He gets a little bit better every day. He matures in his position now as being a head coach at one of the major positions in college football at LSU. He had a learning experience obviously at Ole Miss, and we all make mistakes when we first get in, and I think now that he's home at LSU and this is a dream job, and he's got really good coaches on his staff, and of course he's got some good players, so that makes for a good football team and a great organization.
Yeah, and when you look at this Auburn team, Coach, one that, I guess the expectations of Auburn sometimes can be a bit all over the place. It seems like when you expect them to struggle, they do really good, and then the opposite is true. This year, it's been good, and a lot of that has been because of the freshman quarterback, Bo Nix. I guess, what's your evaluation of Nix, and just how tough is it to do what he's doing as an 18-year-old in this conference?
It's almost impossible. You can't really get by with a true freshman quarterback unless you got a solid group around you. And I think they've got some good football players on offense. The problem is their running game really puts the ball back in the hands of Patrick Nix probably more than what they would like, because it's just so hard for a freshman quarterback to learn on the run when he's pretty much called to duty and has to make every play possible, when it comes to winning games. So it's been an interesting process for them. The good thing for Auburn is they probably got the best defense in the country.
Yeah.
One of the best I've seen in college football in a long time. And the front four, they're massive. They make plays. And they lose at Florida because the quarterback didn't just basically at the end of the day live to punt. I mean, you got to let the defense win the ball game for you. It's got to be the same way this week at LSU. Quarterback's not going to win the game. Freshman quarterback's not going to win a big game like this. It's got to be defense, and it's got to be field position. It's got to be kicking game.
Yeah, and so absolutely, man. The battle up front, like a lot of games, but maybe especially this one, will decide where it goes. But when you're watching Gus Malzahn right now, obviously coaches always want to manufacture matchups they like. They want to manipulate the defense in a look that they like. But it almost feels like outside looking in that he's having to do that a little bit harder, right, to take stuff off of Bo Nix plays. Like he's really trying to set him up in these one-read type of situations. Are you seeing that when you watch these games?
Yeah, I think they learned a lot from the Florida game. They learned a lot of what they don't need to do. They put the ball way too far and too much in the hands of the quarterback. They didn't get the ball in the hands of their wide receivers on quick sweeps and quick handoffs like they had done before. And the problem with that was the defensive ends from Florida are pretty good, and they get up the field. They forced Auburn to run the ball inside, and they couldn't do it, or they didn't try to do it early, and put the ball back in the quarterback's hands, and the rest is history. They just they didn't play that well on offense. And then, of course, defensively, they gave up 2 big plays on the road. And as good as they are, you can't miss tackles and give up 2 80-yard big plays in a game and have a chance to win a game on the road, especially with a freshman quarterback.
Former Ole Miss and Auburn head football coach Tommy Tuberville joining us here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, ESPN New Orleans, and Alexandria. Coach, for the meat of the time that you were at Auburn, your rivalry outside of course, the Iron Bowl, or at least it felt like it was here in Baton Rouge, was the LSU game. We talked a little bit about the cigar game. What's some of the other memories about this rivalry that stand out?
Oh, anything can happen. We come back and, of course, we played, I guess it was 9/11 game.
Yeah.
When we came back and had to play at the end of the year, we canceled the game because we're supposed to play in September, and 9/11 happened, and we had to end up playing at the end of the year. And Nick was there at that time, Nick Saban, and we we had all kinds of things going that game. They opened up with an onside kick and got it, and it was just one of those games where it just wasn't meant to be for us. And then we go down there one other time, and we had the all SEC kicker, and he missed 5 field goals in one game.
That's right. I forgot about that one.
I mean, it was
Skylar Green game. Yeah.
Well, and I chewed my running back out. He gets off the bus, and ESPN sticks a camera in his face, and he said, "I'm rushing for 240 to 50 yards."
Was that Kenny Irons?
Kenny Irons. And I heard about it, and so I go to him. I said, "Have you lost your friggin' mind?" and he says, "Coach, I'm going to back it up." I said, "Well, you better, because it's going to be a long day."
He did.
Sunday and Monday we get back, and he did. I mean, he ran like a wild man and made a lot of plays, and we couldn't make a field goal. And they had an excellent football team, LSU did, and that's when Les Miles was there. So we had some fun times down there. And, of course, at our place, of course, 2004 season, we win the game. We tied up, and we're kicking an extra point to win the game.
Ronnie Prude.
And we missed it. And somebody jumped over the pile, and it was a new rule that you couldn't do that, and we got to kick it again, won the game. But
that was wild.
This is a great rival game. It really is, and it's one of the better ones in college football. And the home team really has an advantage here.
Yeah.
And I'm anxious to watch this game. I'm anxious to see how Steve Ensminger's offense will fare against Kevin Steele's defense, 2 of the best in the country.
Yeah, I was in Jordan-Hare that Saturday afternoon in 2004. I believe you guys converted 2 fourth downs on that final drive to get that field. That was a heck of a football game.
It was an incredible game. But before we look back at this game this Saturday, Coach, just staying down memory road, if you had to pick one LSU player that gave you the most fits when you were game planning, when you were getting ready for those legendary games, who's that player?
Oh, man. I would say the quarterback. His name was Rohan. What was it?
Rohan Davey.
Yeah. Man, number one, we couldn't tackle him when we hit him and tried to sack him. The guy could really spin the football. But there's been a lot of great players on both sides in that game. But I just can remember him of trying to defend him because I'm a defensive coach, and we're sitting in meetings going, heck, look, people are bouncing off of him like BBs.
Yeah.
They can't get him down, and so we didn't know whether to defend him. You make a decision going into a game like that. Do you defend a quarterback or do you pressure a quarterback? And we were between a rock and hard place with him every time we played because whatever you did didn't work.
Well, and okay, and that kind of segues perfectly then into using your defensive mind. When you look at this LSU offense this season, what makes them so tough to defend?
They're balanced. They got a real good passing game now to go along with a running game that just keeps on going. They're physical. They're very consistent. They don't make many mistakes. They're good on third down, and that's what makes great offenses. And they know what they're doing. And the quarterback, it all starts there, no matter what offense you're running. And of course, Joe Burrow's he started out and looked like an All-American, and he hadn't disappointed anybody. And he's much more accurate, I think, watching on the deep balls this year than not really deep, but I'm talking about the mid-level 12 to 18-yard passes.
Yeah.
And he puts the ball on the money, and so his consistency is what made this offense better.
Coach, you're as tight with Ensminger as anybody in the coaching trade. What has he told you about this working relationship with Joe Brady? Because it seems flawless with the way that those guys execute on Saturdays.
Well, and that's a credit to Steve. Steve's an excellent football coach, and he and I go way back. He was my offensive coordinator, and, of course, he and I and Bebe Orgeron and old Bill Johnson, and that's on the
Oh,
staff.
wow, the crew.
Yeah, the crew. We've been in weddings together. We've gone to funerals together. We've done it all, and we've just grew up in the business. And Steve's one of those guys that, he loved and loved and loved LSU. And there was times when I tried to get him a job at LSU, and I'll never forget this. Les Miles had called me several times about Steve, and when he was working with me and wasn't working with me, and then he was with me at Texas Tech. And after about the fifth time, Les calls me and he says, "Coach," he says, "I want to talk to Steve Ensminger." I said, "Les, I ain't talking to him about it. I've already told you he's a perfect fit for LSU. He can help you. He's a great coach. Don't call me again. I'm not giving another hour dissertation about how good Steve Ensminger is." And he laughed, and we both joked about it. And then he hired him. And but Steve loves LSU. Of course, he played years ago and played for Coach Mack, and he and Ed Orgeron are the epitome of what LSU is about, and they both love the place. So it's Steve he's home, and he wants LSU to win national championship, and they will win one while Ed Orgeron's there. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take. It could be 5 years from now or whatever, but this is going to be a long tenure for a group of guys that really love being at this school, and they take passion in it.
Coach Tubbs, it's always cool to catch up with you. Thank you for your time, and best of luck in politics.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. There he is, Tommy Tuberville,
Thanks,
checking
Coach.
in as we'll close that hour one.